record. Okay, two steps. When every time I remember them, I'm like, woohoo!
Repetition creates
I tell you, yeah.
reliability.
You know what? I was taking a quick look at how many shows we've done. We started back on March 24th, and this is number like 15, I believe. Like, isn't that
Wow.
crazy how fast this has gone? That we yap like twice a week for the last couple months. It's gone like poof. Very interesting. I got some feedback from Cynthia. She said that she really, she sent me a message yesterday saying that she really enjoys our subjects and our talks. So that was really good. So anybody else out there, if you're listening, let us know, give us some feedback or suggestions for other topics, because we never know what we're going to talk about till like sometimes a minute before or not even. So good morning, Cynthia. She just popped on.
Good
So
morning.
Susan and I, we were just talking about dandelions. Actually, I've just got to open with that because good morning, Lynn. Beautiful sunny morning. It is absolutely. So I was out at 6 o'clock this morning because I've been awake since 3, couldn't sleep. And I was noticing that the dandelions, they sleep at night. And like the infinite intelligence of that alone just blows my mind. Like how smart the flower is that it goes to sleep. And it also knows, and anybody who's mowed a lawn knows that they are also so smart that when they see the lawnmower coming, they duck, right? Because anybody who's mowed a lawn, you think you got them all, and then the minute the lawnmower's put away, those little sons of bitches, they pop right back up again. Anyway, so I took a picture of them this morning, saying that they even are sleeping better than I am sleeping. So it's like, but when it comes to dandelions, I am an advocate for dandelions. I am an advocate for keeping lawns full of them. But we were saying, but not so that it looks like a field. But I think we need to like embrace, and they feed the bees. Exactly. They're like one of the first foods that are, that pop up, other than the little crocus, that sometimes they pop through the snow. But yeah, the bees need them. So I don't know when, as a society, we became so green lawn grass, which grass is useless unless you have a goat to feed. Anyway, right? We cut it and we throw out the cuttings, and we don't even do anything with them. So at least feed them to a cow or something. Like, it's such a waste.
Well, what Kevin does is when he mows his lawn is that he leaves the grass in the grass.
Okay, so he keeps it as a mulch. Yeah, he doesn't bag it. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a very
And
good
he
idea.
uses a non-electric. He uses like one of those rollers because
I love those.
yeah, he doesn't like noise.
And I
Yeah.
love the sound of that tick, 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 tick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it
I,
doesn't externalize your dust.
yeah, it is so true. I grew up, that's all my dad had was one of those. And I was the lawn cutter. And I loved it. It was click, click, click. So I keep pushing Dave to try and get one here. And he says, well, if you want to mow the lawn, then go for it. Otherwise, he uses electric anyway. So, good morning. And it's Wednesday. It's hump day. And another thing I thought we could chat about was we were talking about clarity. And it's so important to have clarity, and how our outer environment is the reality, really, of what's going on in one's mind, because we are always creating. And I'm sitting here in my office, and I was saying that it's starting to give me angst because I've just got too much shit everywhere. I have got books stacked up over there, and I've got paper stacked up over there, and my desk. I probably have like this much space now to write. Too much stuff. And I keep trying to get back in here to tidy it up. But when I walk in to tidy it up, I get overwhelmed and I leave. So it's like, okay, so my outer is reflecting my inner, because I've got all these ideas too. I've got so much I want to do and so much I want to complete, including home renos. We're painting the family room. I want to go out and walk 2 hours a day, la 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 la, right? So I'm spinning. And so, Susan, darling, whip me into shape, girl.
You
Help
know
me,
what?
help me.
This is what the funny thing is, because we all struggle with that. It's human nature. It is, but the difference with me is that I'm very aware when I'm doing it, right? And one of the things that we have to do is, number one, stay truthful. Stay truthful, right? Which means there's nothing wrong with what you're doing, right? The only thing wrong is that we are like, as human beings, we don't actually accept that we don't want to do it. So let's just be
Mm,
honest and saying, okay, I don't want to do the office, right? Rather than saying, I want to do it, but I can't, because we're victimizing ourselves by putting ourselves in that type of a frame of mind, right? It's like, I
yeah.
want to do it, but I can't, versus, hold on, I don't want to do it. And then we have this, yeah, let's try an exercise. Sherry Nash, let's just do this, Joy. Say, I don't want to clean my office.
Well, okay, I don't wanna clean my office, I want somebody else to.
Ah, okay.
Come organize me, people.
But okay, so think about it this way, right? So how does that make you feel though? Like when you say you don't want to do your own office, how does that make
Right.
you feel?
Empowered, I feel, well, I do wanna clean it though, because I do like a clean office. So if I say I don't
Exactly.
want it, right?
Your truth is
Yeah,
you want to.
I do. I really do.
So you see, it's crazy when we connect back to our truth. You do want to, which is why you're self-sabotaging because you can't. So let's
Mhm.
look at why can't you? What is the real issue with most people? This is not just you. This is like everyone basically that I deal with. It's whenever we hit that fear mode, right? It
Yeah,
creates a friction point.
yeah.
And of course, because we're higher intelligence beings. We're higher intelligence than an ant, okay? We do have conscious thinking.
Sure hope so, right? Me and my aunt.
We are not like basic animalistic survival. Like there is a higher consciousness there. So the fact is, what is it in that task that scares us? And as human beings, what scares us is the need to make a decision.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So what decisions are we really scared of here?
Okay.
Because cleaning up an office, I mean, and you're not the only one, Kevin. Oh my goodness, his office. You would think he's a neat freak. He's a lawyer. His mind is clear, but Jesus, when you look at his office, I'm
Ah,
the one that goes in there and starts
and you clean it up?
categorizing his paperwork.
Yeah, he's got all these little papers too, right? Like I'm famous for them.
Oh,
So then I
oh,
try and use like little pads of paper, so at least all my little notes are in a pad. But then I have too many pads, and it's like, okay, is it in this pad, or is it in this pad, or is it in that pad? It's like, oh, now I've got too many
yeah,
notepads. Yeah, that
yeah.
becomes
So Cynthia says fear of success. It's actually not fear of success. It's the fear of having to let go of something because you fear uncertainty.
it's the letting go. What do I do with this stuff?
Yeah.
Exactly. So it becomes almost like a little mini hoarder, all these little books and all these little things and all these little, little stones, like a little stone here that on one side says it's a problem, and then you turn it over and it's a solution. I can't let this go because this is priceless, right?
And that's okay. You know,
But
when
there's just,
as adults, how did we lose our ability to prioritize?
yeah, yeah, that's what it is. Yeah,
Right. So
exactly.
therefore, what you're facing is your lack of ability to prioritize because God forbid there's one little piece of paper that you will need because the
Yeah.
government might come after you.
Yeah, or it's a little note of something, it's to do. So then I try and transfer it to a to-do list. But yeah, if I let go of that, oh my God, it could be important. Yeah,
So whatever happened to letting go?
just let it go.
These are like the most basic proofs that show me where your truth is by how well you make decisions
Hmm.
on letting go and living with uncertainty.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
All those little notes, and I'm not joking. What I do with Kevin, and he knows I'm gonna do this. So he doesn't ask me, but he knows it drives me nuts when I see all this useless stuff cluttering our clarity. So I have these boxes. Remember back from the Young Living, they used to send things in boxes.
Yeah. Yeah. The really pretty boxes.
So I've always kept those boxes. So what I do is I take all his little papers and I look at his papers. I look at them, and I put them all in a box and I put them in a nice drawer.
Okay.
And And you know what? It's been like 5 years. Some of those boxes he's never gone back into, which means how useful is that information? If
Yeah.
you just go through the logical proving what really is useful or not.
A lot of it is not. You're absolutely right. But often, and what Cynthia just said, which happens to me a lot, if the thing that you throw out, like suddenly now you need it. It happens to Dave and I all the time. We clean out stuff out of the basement. We haven't used it in 20 years. Like get rid of it. Within a week, it's like, oh, I could have used that. Or I
You know
wish I
what
had
that
that.
is? You
What
know
is
what
that?
that is? It's feeding your ego of fear.
Oh, so now suddenly now you're trying to prove the point that, geez, I should not have thrown it out.
Yeah, so you should have prioritized and thrown out what you need at that moment.
Mm.
So what it's telling you, what the universe, what yourself, you're telling yourself, and you're creating these realities that keep torturing yourself is like,
Yeah.
why isn't it better to live in fear and grasp onto everything and everyone
Mm.
than to actually go and try to change me now? So
Right?
suffer the consequences. That's what part of learning and risk taking is learning to reconnect with our truth so we know how to make decisions on the go.
Yeah.
And so if you really think about it, that clutter has become your cushion to survive.
Right. And I agree with that philosophy, and yet I struggle with it because
Yeah,
I'm not happy with it. I want to
because
find a new cushion.
well, because of the fact that so what do you so the only thing I lead people into is what are you really risking? Weigh it out. Weigh the risk out,
Hmm.
right? So like any investment, you weigh out the risks,
Yeah.
right? And but your investment is in your own settledness versus unsettledness. It's your sense of being, right?
Right.
So it really is bothering you because you know. So why is it that you're not doing it? It's because just go in there, paper by paper. Really? Is this what am I holding on to this for?
Yeah.
And start little by little.
That is key. Yes, you're absolutely right. And that is a good tip. And I heard it on the radio actually just the other day as well. John Tesh, he always does an afternoon show on one of those radio stations, and he was saying the experts say that most of the time we don't like to take on a task because in our minds we've made it bigger than it even is, and it's true, and that's that whole overwhelming thing. So the experts too, they say like, yes, take 5 minutes, set your clock if you have to, and just say, okay, I'm going to start 5 minutes, and then get in, get out. But usually what happens, of course, you get on a bit of a roll, and then now you're more than happy to spend more than 5 minutes. So I commit, I, Sherry Nash, commit. And anybody else watching this, if you've got a little messy place in your house, maybe you might want to commit too. I am going to commit to 5 minutes minimum this morning before I get busy with anything else. I am going to commit. And maybe even if I just get my top of my desk cleaned off, I will feel so much better.
Yeah. And it's starting with the exercise of not needing anything at all.
Not
Like
need,
literally,
yeah,
if
yeah.
every single because I call it like seriously, I call it letting go rehab. Like you have to go to rehab, you
Yeah.
know? When
Letting go rehab. I like that.
I get the little piece by piece, but you have to actually understand and accept the reality that if all that stuff was gone,
Yeah. Yeah,
does it
exactly. It
matter?
doesn't matter.
You can make a call to the government.
If there's something.
So, you know what? The thing is, when we procrastinate consequences, those consequences get bigger.
Yes, they do. You're right. Yeah.
Like, for example, somebody I was talking to the other day, they needed to make a decision that was for the life and well being of their child 4 years ago.
Ooh. 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 That's a
Now
big one.
they didn't do what they said they were aware of. And now that situation has become so bad, it's really too late.
Oh shit. Okay,
It's
that's
got so bad that it's like it's irreversible to the point where that person that couldn't make the decision 4 years ago
mm,
is now going to have the biggest rude awakening of a lifetime
mm,
because we are forced to make decisions based on acknowledging our greatest weakness.
Yes.
If we cannot see or say out loud that this is a fear of mine, let's deal with it. And
Yeah.
that person chooses to say, well, I have a fear, but I don't want to acknowledge exactly what it is.
Mm. Mhm.
That procrastination just gets uglier. And then
Yeah.
we become victimized by it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now you go into your office, it there gives you this feeling of, ugh, and then it starts affecting your sleep. And then it's
Yeah, exactly. The consequence, yeah, it's like a mold, it grows.
it does.
It
And you can't
festers.
run from your
Yeah.
fears.
Yeah,
Just
you can't.
acknowledge it because our fears is part of our right to exist. It's
Mm.
our being.
Our fear is our being.
It is part of our being.
Yeah, part of our being. Yeah, it's true. It is a big part of it.
Otherwise, then you're a fake perfectionist. You think you're perfect.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm so far from
Of course, but we
that.
know we are. But then when we have to say out loud, like I can clearly list to you what my limitations are, but if you see your limitations, you can articulate it and it doesn't hurt you, then you can change it. You can
Yeah,
push past it if you
yeah.
choose to. But if somebody says, well, I don't know how to what my limitations are, oh boy,
That's
gee,
a problem.
have
Jeez.
you been so invisible to yourself? How are you making
Yeah,
decisions? Isn't every
yeah,
decision you make based on your well-being and your truth?
yeah, yeah.
Right. So yeah, so what we've just exposed here with your office is it's minor, but but this is just something, it's a behavior that we need to be aware of.
Bingo, exactly. So, in talking about clarity, about getting people to understand clarity, it starts with getting clear on your outer, knowing that your outer is reflecting your inner. So the work is in the inner, knowing why, your outer is in flux, because then you're going to see your own thoughts in flux. You're going to see your own limitations. You're going to see your own fear. You're going to see if, what are you afraid of letting go of? And you're right, because when I think about, just wanting to travel across the country in a little hippie van, it's not going to fit a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of stuff I've got to get rid of. And last fall, when we were really seriously talking about selling the house and moving, and I started unloading like crazy, and I loaded up the car with tons of art supplies, and I brought them to the Columbia House, which is in the around the Point St. Charles area. They help the homeless a lot, and they help school children, and I unloaded and they were so grateful, and it felt so good. And that's the thing with me. I don't want to, I won't just throw it out, because to me that's a massive waste. But if I can find places to give, I even talked to my local library about books, and I said, "Are you accepting books now?" And they said, "Well, normally they would, but because of COVID, but so they can only take maybe a few, and then whatever they can't keep because of COVID, they're going to recycle. They're going to throw in the recycle bin." And I said, "You're not going to share with other libraries, or, so to me, like, that is such a waste. I could throw them in my blue bin. At least it's recycling and it's not throwing it in the garbage." But yeah, so that's my whole thing too about letting go. It's finding a good home for it, so that it's, used.
Well, you know what? Let me tell you something. Human behavior, and this is a given. What makes us move is what is only when we can feel the pain, right?
Mm,
So it's another, if we really wanted to do something, we're resourceful animals.
mm-hmm.
It would
Yeah,
happen. You would
yeah,
find somebody that would take it and you would feel a sense of pride.
yeah,
But what happens is that when our subconscious doesn't want to do something and we try to do it, believing
yeah,
we do,
yeah, yeah.
we're going to sabotage it.
We are.
So the result is you can't find somebody to go in
Yeah,
books.
yeah,
Then you have to look at, okay, because I look at everything that happens with ease or not,
yeah.
right?
And that's a good lesson right there. Number one. Yeah, yeah. To people, just look at
If
what's going on. Is it easy or is it hard?
yeah, so
Exactly.
and also with ease. So I know that I will always get my way. I will manifest what I want if I am aligned in truth
Mm,
with what I
mm,
want. So
mm.
alignment is when your head, your thinking connects with your heart's expression, true
Right.
expression. That's alignment. And when alignment happens, it happens instantaneous, whatever you want.
Mm,
So if nobody is taking your books, then there's something about letting go of those books. Is it because your soul is tied to them, in need of hanging on to something that they represented to you? And
mm.
knowing you, Sherry, because you value information and just knowledge, right? Those books, it's your cushion
Yeah.
on a subconscious level.
Yeah. So
Letting
that,
go of those books is the same thing as letting go of the papers in your office.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. So subconscious mind is, yeah, it's a strong and powerful, and it's so deeply back there that, again, and we've touched on this before, that it's the only way to know really what's going on with what it's saying is to see your actions, because that's the proof in the pudding right there.
Yeah. There's nothing more frustrating since, God, I want that and it's not happening. And then I want that. It's not
Mm,
happening. It's not building trust within ourselves. We're not trusting ourselves to
yeah,
deliver or follow through on our own word. So then we go back to question, well, do I really want it? Then if you don't want to give away the book, nobody's saying to give away the books. Nobody is saying to follow what you're saying, because what you're saying may be the lie. We don't know yet.
that's
That's
right.
the,
Yes,
that's the
exactly.
clarity, right? Like, do
That's right.
you want to or not? Because even if you don't want to, it's okay.
Yeah, 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 yeah. The reality of it. So some of my books were easier to get rid of than others, and so that makes a lot of sense in what you're saying, and I hope everybody's taking notes on that too. So, is it with ease and flow? Then you're aligned.
Yes.
If you're bumping up against something, then there's something off, and it's usually your subconscious mind is hanging on to something or has a different belief than what you think you have in the front part of your brain.
It's your
Yeah,
ego. Your
yeah,
ego confuses your truth. Right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. The good old ego.
It is the ego. The ego is protecting you from the pain.
Mm,
But it's, we have to remove ourselves from the all or nothing, because that's judgment. All or nothing is a form of judgment, right? So
yeah,
it's okay to have a few books that are important to you, because then you're serving your heart and feeding your heart on what is important to you,
right.
and throwing away. Stop cluttering the love of our truth and the love of ourselves with things that don't serve that love.
Mm,
And then
yeah,
it takes you through a journey of feeling that love. It's like you're going to go through each book. It's like, how am I feeling about this? Yeah, you know what? I want this forever, right? Until you don't. And then another book is like, no.
yeah. That's a good tip too. And Maria Kondo, the wonderful Japanese gal that does the organizing, her whole thing is about joy. Interesting, yeah. And that's how she does it, when she says, like, pick up each item, and does it bring me joy? Does it,
Mm,
does it fill my heart? Is it something? And yeah, I mean, it doesn't fill your heart, if it doesn't fill you with joy, get rid of it. I've been pretty good with that with my closet, actually. I got rid of a ton of clothes last fall. My closet was jammers with stuff that I didn't fit anymore, or that I'd had for like 15 years. And I thought, why am I holding on to all this shit? And especially like the smaller stuff, if you've outgrown it, and especially for the last few years, I hadn't outgrown it. So I'm looking at this stuff, and it just made me feel bad. So I'm looking at clothes that don't fit me, and then I'm just feeling bad that they don't fit me. And I thought, okay, so this is like a form of punishment. Like, why am I doing this? Get rid of the freaking clothes, or lose the weight. But
yes.
like, but make a fucking decision. And I did. I got rid of the clothes. But as
Yes.
soon as I did, I started to lose the weight. It's interesting. Now I'm like, damn, I should have hung on to some of those clothes. But anyway, that's besides the point.
Well, you
But
see, this is the thing. It's like, we don't, and I take Kevin through this all the time. I mean, oh my goodness. It's like, stop kicking yourself for something that happened because you served yourself. So therefore, yeah, so you lose the weight, but if you didn't give up the clothes, you wouldn't have lost the weight. So be
Exactly.
grateful for the
Exactly.
action, not for the for kicking yourself for the loss.
Yes. Yes. And I really did slip into that whole gratitude thing. Cynthia says, now I get new clothes. And she thought to you, Sushi, the wicked information you were talking to her too about what you're saying. I love this conversation because I think it's so important for people to help gain clarity and yeah, and I'm always seeking clarity because I do get too muddled and then it's paralysis by analysis, right? We touched a little bit on Monday after we were going to talk about that today about how sometimes there's just sometimes too much information. It's overwhelming. I've seen myself in a pharmacy looking at hair products and like getting paralyzed by which curly hair product am I going to get? Is it, do I need a serum? Do I need a cream? Do I need a mousse? Do I need it's like, oh my God, there's just too many choices. And we've become a society of like overwhelmed with data and information and books and choices and knowledge. And yes, we need to simplify.
Yeah, and it starts with a really deep connection with the joy of exploration, right?
Mm,
And it's funny because I was having this conversation. I'm writing about this a lot these days. It's that we forget the joy of exploration, like when we were children.
yeah,
And what we
that's the
do,
wonderment, right?
yes,
Yeah.
what we do is we use logic to suppress our true heart's expression so
Mm,
that we can avoid feeling pain from the judgment of our mistakes,
mm,
right?
yeah.
So, as adults, we don't think we should learn anymore. And that's a judgment in itself. So by going into a pharmacy, how I look at it is like, oh, well, let's try this mousse and see if it works. It doesn't work. Okay, shove that idea. Don't go and try again. It's
Hmm.
mousse is not working. Why don't we try something else? Try gel now. It's like, that's exploration.
Yeah.
There's no judgment in that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. Just approach it like a little kid would. Yeah, it's like, which crayon do you want to color with today,
Yeah. So for your office, before we go, for your office, I think the first thing you should do is separate, and this is organizational strategies, right? So this is not something that's intuitive, but maybe it is. Start by at least tax stuff that you should keep. If
Okay, tax
nothing,
stuff. Yeah. So I'm pretty good with my tax stuff. And I actually did them on time this year, although I owe $6,500 and like, whoa. But
no, but things that might
but
affect, like little pieces of paper where you're putting notes
yeah,
that might affect your taxes, even like
right.
anything that's tied to anything affecting taxes. That's the
Okay.
key. Okay.
Yeah.
Everything else, literally, like what? Like, don't forget to buy lettuce. Like, what is that?
That's downstairs on the kitchen counter. That's a different note. But what do I
Like,
have here?
give
You
me
have,
what example you have there. Give me one example of a piece of paper. I got to see this.
well,
What are you keeping
I
there?
do have my assessment from the taxes, and then I've
Okay,
got,
well, put that in the
but
side
that,
folder.
so that's going to go there, and
Yeah.
then I have a list of a bunch of emails. This was from the women's event that I still have some gifts here that people were supposed to come and pick up after we did our international women's event. So I've got to follow up with them. I have some wedding stuff because I have weddings coming up that I have. So I've got their papers that I have to file online. And then I have the dog's information about her heart, the valve, the heart failure. That I should just recycle now because I've read it. And what else do I have here? Oh my goodness. So some to-dos. And I've got my new Amazon card thing. I'm supposed to go online and put that paperless. And then a TED Talk, a speaker guide, how to be a good speaker. So that's to be read. And then another notebook.
Okay, the TED Talk speaker thing, that does not need to be read. I think there's more important things than that. You see, like this is like the TED Talk. Like, is the TED Talk thing something you could get online?
This was online and then I printed it so that I could read it.
Oh, okay. Well, stop printing things.
I know. And I hate to waste paper. So, but I really have a hard time reading things online. That's why I don't even really like a Kobo or, whatever those little
True,
gizmos
but
are.
the thing is, you're printing it to create. more pain for yourself.
More pain.
Because
Yeah.
now you forced yourself into the need of something.
Yes.
It's not going away online.
Yes. Yes. It'll always be there. And if I ever want to do a TED talk, I probably will have lost this by then, and I will
Yes,
go online and I'll get it
yes.
again.
Or this is passe by then. They have new information.
I
You're going
know.
to have to
I
go back
know.
there.
Must stop. So I do have a recycle bin right behind me. So this is going to go right in the recycle bin. Done. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I've already started. Here we go, folks. Okay. And this gone. Recycle.
Stop print. You're an environmentalist.
I know. That's why I don't. I only print if I really need to print.
Like nothing is going away online. That's what online is for. We create more pain for ourselves.
Yeah,
Don't
absolutely.
impose anything on yourself more than you need to, honey.
Yeah,
That's all
it's
that we need to
very
say about
true.
clarity.
And what's happening too, though, there's a new term called data hoarding. So that's another thing because I do try and store it then on my computer, and I have my files, my data files, but then sometimes I can't find it on there because I have too much on there. So it's becoming data hoarding. Anyway, oh my God. So this was great.
You know
This
what?
was,
When we are aligned and we trust the universe for real, I know that at any given moment, if I need a piece of information, I just say, universe, show me. And
mm,
somehow somebody's going to come along. Somehow you're going to find something online. Somehow something is going to appear. If we truly believe that, why would we hoard?
yeah. Okay. I love finishing on this note. All right. So note to self, note to self, note to everybody out there. Okay. Take note, trust. So this week, so the test from today till next Monday when we meet again will be trust the universe that everything you need is coming to you. And you'll be able to test if you are in alignment because it will all happen with ease. All right, and like Cynthia says, you could also write it down on a sticky note. I got a bunch of those. I have heart-shaped ones. I've got little green ones.
You know what? I don't even have a notebook. And when I've had the same notebook for the last 10 years and it's still not even halfway. I know that whatever I need, I will retain. Whatever I don't, I won't.
All right, I will have trust and faith, and I'm going to spend time this morning cleaning up. I'll report back. I should take a before and after picture. Maybe I'll do that, and I'll report
You'll
back.
notice that you did not pop out.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I did notice. So this morning, just quickly, folks, I it was Monday that I kept disappearing, right? I think it was Monday. Anyway, so
Yes.
then at the
And
start of
this
this
morning.
call, and then this morning, before we went live, Sue and I started about 10 minutes before, and I lost you. Oh my gosh, I popped out, I think about 4 or 5 times. And we said, okay, so we were going to do a test, and I was setting a commitment, an intention that after this call and that you were going to walk me through the whole clarity thing. So this was brilliant. Thank you, Susan. It was great. And my commitment and my intention was that I commit to actually tackling, not attack, tackling the office. And yeah, I didn't once disappear. Trust
I
and
told you
faith.
it's metaphysical.
It was all metaphysical. Yes, we create everything, eh?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's magical.
When we go against ourselves, the universe conspires to serve us.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, this was great. Oh, and a squirrel just ran by on the window ledge. That's somebody coming to give me a message.
Oh
That's
my
a
God. Kevin says a funny thing to leave off with. Kevin always calls squirrels a rat with a personality.
right. Yes, yes, I know. Because they are a freaking rat, but we love them because they have a big bushy tail. If it had a rat tail, we'd all like, oh, rat. But
Yep.
because it's fluffy, it's like, oh, cute little thing.
They're a
Yeah.
rat with good PR.
They're a rat with good PR, good personality. Oh, that's funny. But that is that squirrel syndrome, like a dog, right? Squirrel. See, that's what's going to happen. I'll be in here trying to clean my office and it'll be squirrel. Woof. All right.
You
On
can
that
have an
silly note.
earthquake going on. I'm still focused on you.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's like laser. You're a laser girl. All right. My God, this has been hilarious. This has been fun. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. Enjoy your the rest of your week. It's supposed to be a gorgeous weekend here in Montreal anyway. Plus 25, I think. It's going to be nuts.
Wow.
You're staying in the country longer, Sue?
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, signing off, Saranara. See you all Monday morning.
Bye.
Bye.